Next month, new members will be sworn into the city council, and today we meet some incoming freshmen, 3 Democrats representing 3 boroughs. Let's start in Manhattan. Virginia Maloney is with us on this Sunday. The daughter of former Congresswoman Cheryl Maloney is ready to break out on her own. Shanel Thomas-Henry also joins us in studio. She represents parts of Queens, and she shares how she went from working as a cashier at LaGuardia Airport to now representing the busy district and representing East Harlem and the South Bronx, Elsie Encarnion. She'll take over the seat of her boss, current Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. All that and so much more in a moment. But first, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani met with current Mayor Eric Adams for the first time since the election. On Tuesday, the 2 leaders talked about the transition process with just 3 weeks to go before the Mamdani administration takes over City Hall. Here's Bernadette Hogan.
The fact that New Yorkers are still struggling under a cost of living crisis, even though it's been a few years since it was the focus of national headlines.
In an exclusive interview with New York One, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani on Tuesday revealed he's kept up communication with President Donald Trump by phone.
I've spoken briefly with the president since then, and I've always kept it a conversation that's focused on the welfare of New Yorkers.
Expressing condolences following an attack on 2 National Guardsmen that led to one losing her life.
It was a conversation where I both communicated my condolences about the multiple National Guardsmen who were attacked and the one who then later lost their life to that horrific attack, and the focus on what we can actually do to build more housing here in New York City.
Mamdani said, although the conversation happened after last weekend's federal immigration raids on Canal Street,
I've said, even directly to the president, frankly, that these raids are cruel and inhumane.
Expressing concern over the separation of a Chinese immigrant father and his 6-year-old son.
His son went to an elementary school in my district in Astoria, Wansheen, and we still do not know where they are.
Ahead of the January 1st Inauguration Day, Mamdani and outgoing Mayor Eric Adams met Tuesday in person for the first time since the election to discuss the transition of power.
It was for a little more than an hour, and it focused on the importance of a smooth transition for New Yorkers.
The mayor-elect said he is still considering keeping some Adams officials, like City Schools Chancellor Melissa Aviles Ramos.
I've appreciated the work that she's done, and like everyone within the Adams administration, I'll assess her and everyone else on the basis of the work they've done, not on that fact of who appointed them.
As he sorts through roughly 70,000 resumes while deciding whether he will live in the taxpayer-funded mayoral mansion on the Upper East Side.
Are you any closer to making a decision about whether you're going to live there?
Now you sound like my landlord. No, not yet at a decision point, but I did appreciate having it at Gracie, and I've been there a few times visiting both Mayor Adams but also Mayor de Blasio.
So far, he's playing nice with Governor Kathy Hochul.
I think I'll always make my thoughts clear as I have done now and will continue to do so. And I also look forward to the working relationship that I have with the governor, which is one that has been focused on the affordability crisis and how to deliver for New York.
But opposes her decision to greenlight a natural gas pipeline through the outer boroughs.
I'm on the record as opposing any new fossil fuel construction, and it's part of a commitment to taking on the climate crisis.
That's Bernadette Hogan reporting for us on this Sunday. Let's begin today's conversation with Virginia Maloney, Manhattan Council Member-elect. What a pleasure to meet you.
So nice to be here. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for having me.
It's a pleasure, and I am such a fan of your mom, Cheryl Maloney, the legendary Congresswoman. I want to say that she served in Congress for 30 years, and she was also the first woman to represent her district in the city council, so she's truly legendary. First, tell us, how is she? And next, explain how your mom influenced your decision to run for public office.
She is doing well. We were just together at an event hosted by the New Majority around the theme of passing the torch. And it is very exciting to be stepping into public life after having such a strong example through my mother. She had a trailblazing career of firsts. She was not only the first woman to represent her district, she was also the first woman to give birth while representing in city council. And that child wild as me. It is a really full circle on the progress, not just of our city, but the whole country. I'm going to be joining a majority female city council. So I'm thrilled about that.
That is awesome. And you will represent District 4 in Manhattan, parts of Midtown, Upper East Side. You campaigned on a platform of the AAA, accountability, affordability, and accessibility. And you're really concerned about the tech sector, right? You want to expand free Wi-Fi. Tell us more. Yeah,
so you hit all three of my A's. Affordability has been such a theme in this election in District 4, but really citywide. It is too expensive to live here, and I'm sure we'll dig into that. So affordability is core to the concerns of the district. I work in accessible tech now and am very concerned about making sure we're serving all New Yorkers, including those with disabilities. So that was my second A. And government accountability, a government that's really delivering for people, that's transparent. I have a background working in the tech sector and think we need to modernize city tools. It is 2025 and we're using systems that are from the 1990s and need to up-level our game on that front.
Yeah, and in terms of accountability, you are very concerned about public safety. And what do you make of the NYPD's latest crime stats? Good news overall. Most major crimes categories are down.
Yes, absolutely. And that is great. And I've been very excited by the commissioner's work on NYPD. But it's also about how people feel on our streets. And throughout the campaign, a consistent theme is not feeling safe, whether it's a whizzing e-bike when you're trying to just bring your groceries home or practicing your religion. So we do have a lot of work to do to make sure that everyone feels safe on our streets. And that's going to be a top priority for me in the council in January.
And you mentioned e-bikes. That's a major issue in your district because people don't feel safe walking the sidewalks in Manhattan. They have to look left and right while they're on the sidewalk. What do you want to do about that?
We have to keep bikes in their lane, literally. There's a lot we can do to help solve this problem. I've been encouraged by legislation passed to bring speed limits to bikes. We have to invest more in infrastructure on the east side in particular. And we also need to work with tech companies like Seamless and Grubhub. The way that we order food has totally changed since the pandemic, and we need to adapt to this new system. Everybody loves hot pizza right to their door, but not when they're hit by an e-bike on the way. Coming from the tech sector, I want to work with tech companies to prevent bikes from going the wrong way on the sidewalk, going through red lights, and there's a lot we can do with enforcement.
That's great. And lastly, have you met the incoming mayor, Zohran Mamdani? What do you make of him?
I'm really excited for the mayor-elect. There's so much energy around the incoming administration, and I am very excited to partner on the affordability agenda, one of my A's, as you pointed out. So looking forward to being a partner.
Tell your mom I said hello.
I will.
I'm a forever fan of Carolyn Maloney.
Me too.
Yeah, Virginia Maloney, Manhattan City Council member-elect. Great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Still to come.
I'm getting married tomorrow.
My future husband.
19 years after his death, a movie is in theaters right now about Sean Bell, the innocent man from Queens, killed by the NYPD on the morning of his wedding. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us as we meet newly elected members of the City Council. Joining us now is Shanel Thomas-Henry, who will represent parts of Queens. It is great to meet you.
It is great meeting you, and so happy to be here.
Yeah, and congratulations on being elected. So your district includes Corona, East Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, and Lefrak City, as well as LaGuardia Airport. You started your career at LaGuardia, starting off as a cashier at the airport, and you worked there all the way up to your election. What are the needs of that particular district?
So let me take a brief pause. I didn't work all the way through, but I did start my first job there at 16, went away to Howard University. I always have to rep my alma mater, you know. So I came back, and years later, I actually worked on the redevelopment program of the airport, doing all the community outreach. So that really brought this to a full circle moment for me. And while at that job and some of my other community work, I was able to really see what some of the needs were. So economic development, affordable housing, access to opportunities are a lot of things that are important to my district, as is for a lot of New Yorkers.
And one of the issues is human trafficking around airports, JFK and LaGuardia. That is a major concern. And how would you address that once you're sworn into the city council and get going?
Okay, so yes, it's a number of things. So the Port Authority and agencies do a great job of monitoring that in and out of all the airports. For me, it's working alongside our local precincts as well. I'm representing 2 precincts, the 110 and the 115. So working alongside of them to identifying the issues, other community partners to help really get to the root of the problem and solve it.
And you really care about education and child care.
Yes, I am a mom.
You're a mom, yeah. And you want to create real job pipelines for young people. Tell us more about that.
So when I was away at school, I had the opportunity to get awarded a scholarship through Ford Motor Company. They had, as you know, they're based in Detroit, Michigan, and they had a program where they would bring high school students to the university, give them internships each year, and then the opportunity to work there once they graduated. So I brought that back to our community, working on the LaGuardia program. We were awarded over 12 scholarships to young people in the community.
Nice.
Each summer they got a paid internship, and a few of those individuals actually came on board with the Port Authority. Others went on to other aviation partners and now have successful careers. So that's one example of some of the pipelines that I have created and want to continue to create.
And you want to continue,
Yes.
yeah, keep it going. Now, you also care a lot about seniors and especially Access-A-Ride. I've talked about Access-A-Ride many times on this program. It is a broken system, rarely on time. And how would you deal with that once you, again, are sworn in?
So it's really talking to the stakeholders. Oddly enough, my mom used to drive for Access-A-Ride. Now, this was several years ago, and I can say today, now my grandmother takes Access-A-Ride. So really knowing the trials and tribulations that my mom went through as a driver, now hearing the experience of my grandmother, which are much more positive, I would say the system is improving over time. So for me, as if with anything, it's really analyzing what's happening, where things can be fixed and improved for the betterment of all New Yorkers.
And another member from Queens is going to take over City Hall, and that's Zohran Mamdani. Have you met the?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and what do you make of his priorities, including free buses and, you know, the universal child care and so forth?
I think he has a bold vision for New York, something that's new, something that's refreshing, and something that's needed. I'm very happy to be about to work alongside of him. We've met a few times about my district in general and some of his priorities throughout the city. Very excited what he has, especially universal child care. As I mentioned, I am a mom, and the struggle is real. It's very expensive. A lot of women have had to leave the workforce to stay home and take care of their children because of the cost of health care. So I'm very supportive of our new mayor-elect.
And excited to take office, right? Okay, well, congrats again. Shanel Thomas-Henry, Queens City Council member-elect. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
Time for another break. In Focus continues right after this. And now, a flashback from our New York One archives. March 24th, 2016, some 9 years ago. The Big Apple is bigger than ever. For the first time, the city's population tops 8.5 million people. Here's what happened. More people moved into New York City than moved out, according to census records back in 2016.
What's happened, or what's really driving the population, is a large number of births.
Queens, known as the world's borough, had the highest increase. Brooklyn was a close second, followed by the Bronx, Manhattan, and Staten Island. Today, the city's population still holds steady at 8.5 million residents, with a steady stream of New Yorkers moving out. Studies show some can no longer afford to raise their families in the 5 boroughs. Welcome back to In Focus as we talk with newly elected members of the City Council. We're pleased to welcome Elsie Encarnion, who represents East Harlem and the South Bronx. Great to see you.
Great to be here, Cheryl. Thank you.
Yeah, it's your first time on this side of the camera.
First time on this side of the camera.
Now, like I said, you'll be representing two different boroughs,
That's right.
East Harlem and Manhattan, of course, and the South Bronx. Both districts have disproportionately high rates of crime, as you know. Once you are sworn into the City Council, how do you plan to address that?
That's a good question, Cheryl. I think it's one of the most important things that we encountered when we were door knocking. People were talking about public safety, the quality of life issues, and feeling safe in their own neighborhoods. And so we've built a really good relationship with some of the local precincts. And I really do think that in order to address violence, you have to look at the root causes.
And what's the root cause?
So a lot of that is employment, housing stability. We're talking about after school programs, making sure that our educational options are there, making sure that people can get to work and giving them those resources. So my job will be to invest in those things, and hopefully, right, we can work with our community members, our local precincts to make sure that that issue is addressed.
Sure, and you mentioned housing. You campaigned on a platform of, quoting now, protecting vulnerable populations from displacement, which is happening big time in those two districts.
That's right.
Tell us more about that.
Well, you know, when you have a community that has been low income for so long, and you have all of these new people coming into our communities, people that live there that have made the community what it is, like myself, right, born and raised, we want to feel safe in that community. We want to know that we're not going to get priced out. And so affordability is a big thing. And how we do that is we really work with our state electeds, our federal government, and our city resources to make sure that people have everything that they need in order to stay housed. Diana Ayala, who is my predecessor, has been working very hard on the City FEPS program and making sure that voucher holders are able to stay in place. And so that is more of what I will be doing in the City Council.
Yeah, you mentioned Diana Ayala, who was you were chief of staff for her, deputy speaker, and you are until, until the new year.
Until the new year.
And what did you learn from working with her?
Oh man, what didn't I learn from working with her? So I actually started in government under Melissa Mark Viverito. I worked with her for 6 years. And in that capacity, I was more community facing. I was running task force, running her youth violence task force, her anti-displacement task force, running her youth council. So I was very much so focused with community. Coming back and working for Diana, I have now learned legislation, budget, how those things interconnect, and how to really leverage all of the experience I got from working in the community, leveraging that towards legislation and budget and pushing an agenda. And so that has been invaluable. Those two women are amazing. I could not have asked for better mentors. And so I'm ready to hit the ground running.
You learned how the sausage was made.
That's right.
So, you know, last week we had your colleague Justin Sanchez on, who also represents the South Bronx.
That's right.
The other part.
That's my
You're
buddy.
going to represent one half.
That's
he's representing the other half. He talked about environmental justice. He was very passionate about that. So many people in the South Bronx and East Harlem suffer from disproportionately high rates of respiratory illness, as you know, asthma and so forth. And we talked about the proposed cap over the Cross Bronx Expressway. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm aligned with him on that. I think we need to get that done. And there are other things that we can do in the meantime, right? Projects like that take a really long time. And unfortunately, in the meantime, our communities suffer, right? So we're looking at ways to do mold remediation inside of apartments, right? Making sure that the buildings are code compliant so that they're not pushing out a lot of exhaust. These things are important to tackle right away so that we can start getting some relief in our neighborhoods, along with some of the things that he mentioned, tree canopy extensions, right? Looking at our waterfront and how we use that. And there, I'm so lucky because I have some amazing groups in my district that are already working on this, right? So my job as a city council member, the way I see it, is how do I support their vision and invest in the things that they've already done the research on.
Yeah, and lastly, and I'm going to ask all of you this, how do you plan to work with incoming Mayor Zohran Mamdani?
I'm so excited about that, actually. You know, we've already started our work. That's one of the great things about him. And I think that it makes me very hopeful for his administration is that he has already reached out to the newly elected officials, right? He's already started to talk about what are the things that are important to you in your district. He's come to the district, right? He's already produced some of that work without the title. And so I'm very certain that he will continue that work, and I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and keep working with him.
And get to work.
That's right.
Well, congrats again.
Thank you so much.
Elsie Encarnion, City Council Member-elect representing East Harlem and the South Bronx.
That's right.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We're going to switch gears in our final focus and turn our attention to a tragedy 19 years ago. Sean Bell, gunned down by police in Queens, and now a new film in theaters right now shines a light on what happened.
I'm getting married tomorrow.
My future husband.
Aftershock, the Nicole P. Bell story, chronicles how the unarmed 23-year-old was killed just hours before his wedding, sparking international outrage and conversations about police accountability and reform. Actor Frank Atkinson also produced the film.
This was a big moment for Nicole Bell as a voice. She fought, to get justice for her slain fiance, and she's a real hero. And so I want, even though it focuses on the death of Sean Bell, it also focuses on her.
Aftershock, executive produced by Rock Nation, in theaters nationwide now.